In life, you do not doubt yourself because you are weak. You doubt yourself only when you stop letting love lead. If life feels heavy for you right now, it's because you've been taught to follow everything but love. But watch this live tonight. Because on tonight, you get back in touch with the only guidance system that never fails. And you discover the one thing you've been searching for most. You. I need to welcome you to the Breakthrough Live. We're going to jump right into our show tonight because the first person that I'm putting on the hot seat when it comes to self-doubt is myself. With that being said, let's get right to it. If you're ready to live free, beyond fear, welcome here. I'm Dr. Shawn. And I believe you do not need years to heal. You just need one real breakthrough. That's why I invented Transcendent Psychology and I tested in the real world on real people on my game show, Countdown to Breakthrough, the only game show that heals your soul. Right now, you're on the Breakthrough Live, where we break down the science of healing so that you get your own breakthrough. Live. On tonight's show, we're talking about that pesky voice of doubt. We're talking about what happens when we separate from that eternal, internal guidance system, the one that always knows exactly what to do. The moment we lose touch with this inner guidance system, we stop trusting our path. Let me get right to it. I'm going to start tonight's show, as we always do, with a clip from Countdown to Breakthrough. This clip is going to set up our conversation. Let's get right to it.
My secret game show heals your relationships.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can I show you both how beautiful your minds are? I have 7 minutes in order to show you the power of your own mind. And if I don't get it done in 7 minutes, I owe you cash.
Not today. I don't want to be filmed.
7 minutes on the clock. See your mother in your mind's eyes. Imagine that you have a white ball of light.
And that this white light is love itself.
She's got a full smile.
You are growing more and more beautiful. What the hell is this? How does it feel right now to have sent this love?
I feel it. I feel like I can see it, actually.
Okay. So there you go. I'm out here doing a game show, and for real, I'm thinking, what am I doing running up to random strangers on the streets? What am I doing in Atlanta? I live in Austin. See, one day, love tells me to fly to Atlanta, and I don't know why. Love tells me to fly to Atlanta, and I don't know why. Okay, so I go, at least I want to go because I want to create something that no one ever has before, right? I was trying to blow my channel up, you understand? But deep down, I really wanted to know what happens exactly when I choose to follow love, when I choose to follow that internal guidance system. What exactly would happen? I wonder if I could just move without having to consult my own intellect? It don't have to make sense. Can I just move? Carried instead by this eternal internal guidance system. We're going to define that tonight, but could I just move just with this love energy? Could I just abide? Could I just go? Or would I allow the fact that it doesn't quite make sense, not quite, it doesn't make sense at all. I cannot justify going down, taking time out of my day. I can't justify it. We can do a lot of things right here in town. Why are you going to Atlanta for? I start doubting the voice of love. And remember, we say on this show that the voice of love, the voice of God, the voice of natural reality is all one thing. Whatever intellectual label you want to place on it, it's all one thing. So we're talking about this incorruptible guidance system. So just so you understand, that was the real purpose of getting down there, was to get to a sense of, can I follow love? Could I follow even if it doesn't make sense? And so the thing about it is, though, by the time love told me to go down to Atlanta, I was spiritually exhausted. Nothing I did on YouTube up to that point, like, moved the needle for me. Nothing really happened. I'm telling you, I poured my heart out for over a year onto YouTube, creating these cinematic videos, these cinematic short films, and I got 20 subscribers in a year. And while I appreciate every subscriber, 20 subscribers in a year it's not great. It's not great. So, which meant that every upload felt like proof that maybe I wasn't doing enough. Or the scarier part is that every upload felt like proof that maybe I wasn't enough. So now we're starting to get into that doubt deal. I was afraid that I was failing and that maybe love had chosen the wrong person. That's what doubt does. That's what doubt does. The problem was I did not trust myself anymore. The problem was that I did not trust myself anymore. I could trust a well thought out plan. I can't trust myself. Ooh. Okay, so because I come from a background of constantly relying on that intellect. So after spending about $7,000 on courses and being able to see, like, okay, well, how's the algorithms work? How's it all fit together? After spending the money and trying to get the intellectual information so I can hold on to the intellectual information as if it's a safety crutch, as if it can provide some sort of security. I start holding on to it. And as I'm doing that, I think, what if I just do what love is asking me to do? Were I not afraid? What if the $7,000 gone? Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? You done got the information. Okay, got it. But what if instead of just trying to spin my way out of this, what if I just decided to do what love was telling me to do? Were I not afraid? Okay. So I get on a plane and I'm in Atlanta. And so the little clip that you just saw was me running up on people just on one of the days and saying, hey, can I show you how beautiful your mind is? My plan is to go and heal strangers on the streets in 7 minutes or less. I got 7 minutes to do this because people don't have time. People don't have time. They're in a hurry. They're not paying attention. You're barely listening, half listening to you. And you got camera, yourself, and you need to make something happen. So I can't say, hey, look, sit with me for 20 minutes. Hey, come through the breakthrough live and chill with me for 2 hours. No, I got 7 minutes. That's the plan. But as we're on the streets, we get rejected. I'm just gonna say we. I get rejected. Even the camera dude's like, I get rejected again and again and again and again and again to the point where I'm like, man, I just want to go home. Can we get to the hotel or something? And just as we're leaving Piedmont Park, which is a park in Atlanta, shout out to Piedmont Park. Just as we're leaving, Love says, go find one person. Go find one person. We were at the parking lot. And if you know Piedmont Park, we came through, if you happen to be from Atlanta, we came through, there's like a museum type of joint that's attached to the park or some sort of, gift shop type of deal right near the parking lot. And so we're in the parking lot near the gift shop, keys jangling in my hands. And Love says, go and get one. Go and get one. And I ended up turning around and I found this woman. I mean, the clip that you're about to see, like I found this woman. I want to show her to you. I found this woman. It was 2 steps. We took maybe two or 3 steps. If I could show you the full park, you would see that we were like the parking lot was right over there. You know what I'm saying? And then here comes this woman. Love says, go find one more. And so I found this woman, and she was dealing with a situation where her own mother was doubting her. Her own mother was saying, hey, listen, I know you think you're capable. I know you think you're ready for a new level of activity in your career, right? I know that you want to take on new responsibilities, but I just want you to slow down. That was the word that she kept saying. I just want you to slow down. She's telling me what her mother is saying, and the woman's telling me that she's taking offense. Because if her mom is doubting her, then that means that if her mom is telling her to slow down, then that means that her mom is doubting her. Her mom is not trusting her. And she don't want to really deal with that because her mom's voice is so important to her that if she listens to her mom's own doubt for her, then perhaps she'll begin to believe it. So this woman is really just trying to guard her heart, you understand? And so remember now, Love has told me go find one more. I was ready to go back. Oh yeah, I was ready to split. Love says find one more. And I find this woman who is dealing with the same doubt that I had to fight just in order to get up out there in the first place. She's trying to guard her heart. Let me show you what happened.
Prizes me and expands herself. So I want you to feel this white ball of love light inside of your hands, in the space between your hands right now. Let me know when you have it. Excellent. At this time, send the white ball of love light through time and space and into your mother's chest. Watch the ball move from your hands and into her chest and watch her receive it. See her receive it. Let me know when you have it.
I do.
Excellent. Notice that there is a gentle smile appearing on her face right now. For some reason she can't explain, her day is getting better and better. Right now I want you to bless the ball of love light that you just sent and do it with these words. Repeat after me. You are growing more and more beautiful.
You are growing more and more beautiful.
Every day.
Every day.
In every way.
In every way.
Excellent. Notice that she is now growing with a full smile. Oh my gosh, you can't explain it, but her day is great. Her day is fantastic. She's saying thank you. And I want you to say thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. It's so beautiful. Observe this love and say thank you to yourself for being able to send the love. Excellent. And say thank you to God for allowing you to send this love.
Thank you, God, for allowing me to send this love.
Gorgeous. And when you're ready, you may put your hands down by your side and open your eyes. Gorgeous. Can you? I can feel you. And I can sense that there was movement. What are the tears about?
My mother passed away on my birthday a year ago. I come to the park every day and I run. And I think about her.
Yes.
I wear her necklace every day.
Yes. Beautiful. And would you believe it if I told you that love moves through time? That regardless if she's not here physically, she can still feel the love that you just sent. Would you believe that? So what does it feel like? How does it feel to send love? To be the one who places this love with your mother right now? How does that feel?
It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels empowering. It feels peaceful. Today is the first day in a year that I've actually felt peace from after she passed. She was my best friend. Yeah.
And that peace, did we have to go to the store in order to buy this love?
Mm-mm.
Oh. Did we have to, get family members in order to put a little pool of money together in order to get this love?
Mm-mm.
So where was it the whole time?
Right here.
Which means that you have the power to send love at any time. No one in this world can stop you from sending love, which means no one in this world can stop you from feeling this peace. And that's the gift. That's the gift. And so, as you're moving today, one thing that I'm just wanting to share with you is abide in this love. Because the beautiful thing about love is that it covers all things. And so we say God is love for that reason, because it covers all things. And so if you have it within you, it's also connecting with your mother right now.
Yeah.
She's abiding in it.
Yeah.
And so just by abiding in that, you feel that peace, and it's everlasting. So I just thank you. That's our mind game.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Nicole.
I thank you so much.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I gotta have a hug, please, please. Thank you so much. It's so gorgeous. And I just want you to know that this thing is eternal.
Yeah.
You can't run out of it. It don't run out. And so when you're sending that and knowing that she's feeling it, you might not be able to see with the physical eyes, but she's like, oh, when I said she's smiling, she's smiling. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Be blessed.
Okay. Okay, so you understand it. Did you hear what this woman said? She said, today is the first day in a year that I felt peace. And it only takes 7 minutes. For her, like 4 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever. Under 7. So I say, okay, this woman and the 35 other souls I was able to meet and serve, they reminded me of something very special. That there was no reason for me to be in Atlanta. There was no reason. There was no reason. I do not stay out there. But how else would I have been able to show you exactly what I'm talking about? How else would I have been able to show you the power of bringing love into your psychological experience? How else would I have been able to show you in real time what it looks like to connect psychoneurologically with this great eternal force? Whereas to me, I'm thinking, man, there's no reason for me to be out there. I'm relying on the intellect, which the intellect can only identify patterns it's seen before. It can only operate off of observable data, known variables. The intellect cannot operate off of unknown variables, off of unobservable data. So what's the lesson? The lesson for me was that I can trust me as long as I trust the love in me. You see that? I can trust me as long as I can trust the love in me. That's the difference. It's not about trying to fake confidence. I can trust me if I trust the love in me. And so from that day forward, I simply follow love. I simply follow love. And so that sets up our lesson for today. Folks, don't think I don't see you up in this room. Okay, twin? Good evening, Dr. Shawn. Good evening, twin. And is 20 twin in here? Where's the other twin? There he is. Okay, wow, what an earth angel you truly are. Okay, that's I can only see the second part. I've been meaning to fix that. Anyway, welcome in. Welcome in tonight. My love Felicity is here. She's saying good evening all. Sublime. Sublime, is the video good now? You're saying I can see the chat, but the video is not playing. Let me know if you can still see it. And also let me know if you're understanding the main point here. We're about to go deeper. We're about to go deeper on tonight. Okay, so oh yes, Felicity started to play. Okay. Thank you, Felicity, for helping Sublime, because I do not want you to miss a moment. So, folks, we got to go to the breakthrough board. The lesson I want to, I like teaching from principle. The principle that we're discussing tonight makes this point relevant for folks who are brand new. They don't know me. No problem. When we talk about love on the Breakthrough Live, anytime I'm talking about love for real, I'm talking about oneness. I'm talking about the unitary force behind all phenomena. I'm not talking about just an emotion, though I call it love because it is so vast that it is also inside of that emotion that most people know as love. It's just that that emotion is not all there is to it, though it is a helpful component. So when I say love, I'm talking about oneness. I'm talking about true reality. What is love? Love is the end of separation. When you say you love somebody, what you're really saying is that I feel connected with you. I feel one with you. The reason we love our children, our family so much is because we feel that they are us. You understand? And so what I'm saying is that that is not merely a coincidence. but indeed is the very essence and fabric of existence itself. With love defined, you understand that love is oneness, which means that love is reality itself felt. Love is reality, the totality of reality felt. It's the experiential domain that includes the totality of reality itself. So when I talk about love, I'm talking about, some people call it God, no problem. Some people call it Tao, no problem. Some people call it Nectar, no problem. Some people call it nature, same thing. But I am talking about the great force that underlines all cosmos, all universes. So if you're cool with that, then let's get to the breakthrough board. Because as you know, I love teaching from principle. Because once you understand the principle of a thing, you can find your own way back to reality. You can find your own way through a maze once you understand how it works. And so tonight's principle, we always talk about the principle, the pattern, and the path. What's the principle? What's the pattern behind the principle? And then what's the path forward? Okay, here we go. So on tonight, the principle is this. Behold the soul, no beginning, no ending. It is oneness. Therefore, it is love. Here we go. The principle is this, that love is the only true guidance system, because love represents the totality of reality. In other words, because of the way that we define love, when we reason from love, when we allow love to lead, we are allowing for undivided nature to lead, for what makes actual sense. We are dwelling not in the world of illusion, but in the world of pure reality. We're essentially taking off the virtual reality glasses that everybody's walking around with, the VR glasses of ignorance. And we're operating from a higher truth, from a unified truth. We're operating on behalf of the whole. And so because of that, we always know where our North Star is. You can put a star here. We always know where our North Star is. Why is that? Because have you ever noticed that you cannot condition love? Other people can manipulate you into liking them. Other people can manipulate you into hating them. Other people can manipulate you into liking somebody else, hating somebody else, getting angry with somebody else. Other people can manipulate you into that. But nobody can manipulate you into love. And so because love is not conditional, it is also not conditionable. Nobody can manipulate or change what you love. You can't even decide. You can't pick what you love. You simply love what you love. For that reason, it is uncontested, uncontaminated, and thereby the only source that we can reliably make use of in order to direct us to our true course, to our true North Star, our life's true purpose. Folks, if you're catching the principle that love is the only true guidance system, then you can understand what I was doing in Atlanta. There's no reason for me to be out there, champ. Why? It's way easier for me to get behind this computer desk every single day and be talking about whatever the coolest trends are. I wouldn't even be making content for real if I wanted to really get at some paper. What are you talking about? What you doing? For what? It takes too long. For what? But the reality is that when we have and understand the North Star that is love, we understand our true guidance system. We understand that we are not operating for ourselves. I am not here for me. It's not about what I can get. That's the principle. It's not about what I can get. It's not it's this love deal, and the circle represents all of love. This love, it's operationalizing for the whole. It's not about me. It's about the people who I'll never meet. It's about the people you'll never meet. The ones that exist on the planet now and the ones that haven't yet been born. You understand? Like, now from my personal experience, it just feels loving to do. It's just exciting. But though it feels loving to me, as you can see, it also serves other people. So the principle is that love is the true guidance system. The way out of doubt is to follow yourself back to love. Follow love itself. Get back in tune with natural reality, with that feeling. I understand it's easier said than done. That's why we're here. No, I get that. But it's easier done than living your life without having done it. I'll tell you that. To live your life based off of an intellect that can only reason with variables in a world where the variables are uncertain, that is lunacy. Nothing wrong with using the intellect. And just understand what its capabilities are and what its limitations are. What I'm saying is that our principle tonight is that love is the true operating system, the true guidance system. Someone put a yes in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. Love is the sum total. Watch this. Love is the sum total of nature. Love is the sum total of nature. It is not only our direction to our North Star, which is true purpose, but it also is nature itself, guiding us, moving us, God itself guiding us, moving us into our highest destiny, into our highest growth. Move. Someone put a yes in the chat if you understand what I'm talking about. Let's go to the pattern. That's the principle. Let's go to the pattern. Let's go to the pattern. By the way, if you ever have a question, if something's not making sense, just say so. Okay, so Sublime is saying true. Felicity saying yes. Twin is saying yes. Yes, excellent, excellent, excellent. Very, very good. All right, here we go. So now that we've talked about this principle that love is our true guidance system, well, we need to talk about the pattern. See, if it's true that we get sidetracked when we stop following love, that's when we fall into doubt. That's when we stop trusting our path. That's when we start doubting ourselves. That's when you start doubting yourself. We understand that our principle is that love is the only true guidance system because it is operating off and on behalf of nature. And by nature, I mean God, I mean reality. You understand? It's just these are just words, but words that are meant to point us to the eternal, to the supreme. So love is that only true guidance system because it alone reflects foundational reality completely. That's the principle of the day. Okay. Love is the sum total of nature, right? The full circle. Behold the soul. You understand? Okay. So What's the pattern then? Like, what's the problem? What's the issue? If it's so easy, how come everybody just ain't just following the love thing, bro? Well, the reason is because here's the pattern. The reason that human beings currently, the current stage of evolution, the current stage of human development, or at least in this point in history, the reason that human beings are not relying on love is because, and here's the pattern, human beings are relying on the intellect. What's the issue with the intellect? What's so wrong with thought? Nothing. Nothing. It's nothing. There's nothing wrong with intellects any more than there's anything wrong with hands and feet. But you're going to have a hard time moving mountains with just those. You dig what I'm saying? The issue is that people who operate for outcome, by outcome I mean like results. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. By outcome I mean results. You can't see that for real. Let me just. By outcome I mean results. People who operate for outcomes. You've heard of someone being outcome driven or results driven, a results driven person. Like almost like every job interview is like we need a results driven person. You know what I'm saying? Like people who are driven by outcome are actually being led by the intellect. People who just want the outcome, just want to get something, even if it seems like a helpful thing. I just want to go help somebody. Not I'm out here to do what I love and let love help. No, no, no. I'm out here because I want to get a check and I want to help somebody and I want all of these. It's outcome. That's outcome thinking. Someone who is looking for an outcome is being driven by the intellect. What's the issue with the intellect? Well, remember, behold that soul. The only issue with the intellect is that it takes natural reality and starts dividing it up into portions and pieces. And then it starts looking for relationships between portions and pieces. And the whole problem is that the intellect can only respond. Can we see this? Okay, good. The intellect can only respond to known variables. The intellect cannot respond to unknown variables. The intellect can only respond to observable data. The intellect cannot adjust for the unknown. Therefore, anybody who is searching for an outcome, who has partitioned, bifurcated, who has split reality from being totality to being all of these discrete segments, will miss the entire point. They will miss the entire point of what reality actually is. And therefore, they must necessarily operate from illusion. Once you what is an illusion? It's non-reality, which means that the moment you start cutting up reality into separate and discrete pieces and treating the separate pieces as if they're real, you are now lost in illusion. By definition. Why? Because you've lost touch with the basis of reality itself. You've cut reality into all of these discrete pieces where one of them is the outcome that you want and the other one is the outcome that you don't want. You see how that works? Where one of these pieces is the outcome that you want, so you start executing for it, and the other piece is the outcome that you don't want. The problem is that in a universe like the one that we live in a cosmos that's interconnected like the one that we live in, the outcome that you don't want may become the very opportunity for the outcome that you do want. But the intellect cannot make those connections. Why? Because they're unknown. They're unknown connections. They're unknown variables. So this is the pattern. People who are operating from outcome are operating from intellect. The problem with operating from intellect is that it necessarily cuts reality into pieces and then treats the pieces as if they're real. The problem with that is that the moment we cut reality into pieces and then start treating pieces as if they're real, we've missed the fact that we're no longer operating within the totality of reality. We're now operating in illusion. That's the pattern. Reliance on the intellect is a reliance on illusion. Someone put in the chat that you understand. Relying on the intellect is relying on illusion because the very nature of intellect is to cut reality into discrete portions and pieces and then treat those pieces as if they somehow can help you control the whole. That's the pattern. It's only a matter of time before somebody who is outcome driven loses their way. It's only a matter of time because they're fundamentally operating in illusion. Now, there's nothing wrong with using the intellect within context and saying, okay, yes, we're going to cut this piece into discrete portions because we need to, solve a certain problem or whatever the case is. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you lose the perspective of the totality of reality and the fact that the unpredictable sows the seeds for the predictable, that unpredictable and predictable, they rely on one another. They're interchangeable. They support one another. When we begin to miss this dynamism that is representative of the totality of reality, well, now you live in an illusion. And it hurts to be living in illusion. Okay, Twin is saying overstand that. OMG, yeah, okay. He said so. Twin put H. He was trying to say You know what I'm saying? Like it's, for sure, for sure. I mean, isn't that something though? It's kind of like, and how many times, bro? How many times have all of us been conditioned to think of the intellect as superior? We don't have there's no spiritual Q test. There's an intellect test, there's an IQ test, there's no higher consciousness test. We don't do that. Not in this society. No, 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 no. Even the IQ tests are, what I'm saying, that's a whole other thing. But just so you understand the pattern that we're testing for how well people can live in delusion. I mean, how well can you live in delusion? And then like what, what? You sure about that? Okay, so this is the idea here. People who are led by outcome are always going to be fooled because they're being led by the intellect. And when you are using the intellect inappropriately, that means you're committing yourself to known variables when the bulk of our universe, this world, and our lives hinges on the unknown variables. So yeah, if you're trusting the intellect, doubt becomes impossible to avoid. Impossible. You doubt things when you're not sure, What's going to happen? You doubt when you don't know. And we are living in an observable universe where increasingly we're finding that there's more stuff that we don't know. And to think about how all the stuff that we don't know comes to bear on the stuff that we do, you reason from the intellect, you will get caught up in it because you're working from illusion. If you understand nothing else, the pattern is you doubt when you want an outcome that you don't know if you're going to get. And you doubt because you're relying on a minor intelligence, on a intellectual faculty that cannot know true reality. Cannot know true reality. So when we say lean not on your own understanding, we're talking about lean not on that intellect's understanding. And I'm one of the most educated people. I got all kinds of degrees. Lean not on the intellect's understanding. You feel me? So now we have the principle, which is that okay, hold on. Let me get a few more of these in the chat. Let me get a few more of these in the chat. Okay, so Sublime saying, I think I understand how people ignore their senses because their intellect can't verify what they can sense. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right, 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 right. You ever get that feeling that somebody's looking at you from across the street and then you look over and somebody's in fact looking at you? You dig what I'm saying? Like, what is that? What is that? Have you ever noticed birds flying in the sky and all of a sudden turn all at once? Be like 50, 60, 70 birds just all flying and then turning in at the same moment. You observe the same thing when you look at patterns in schools of fish. If you ever been in Maui or you know what I'm saying, the Caribbean, wherever, and you're looking at schools of fish, they all turn at the same time. They have this capacity. How does each organism know when to do that? Well, it turns out they are responding to the slightest variations of frequency in wind and wave. What I'm suggesting for you is that humans will be as this, that we too, tapped into this universal energy field, will be able to move as is necessary for the benefit of the group, for the benefit of the whole. You understand? This is the power of love. What we call love, again, in 1,000 years, they'll have a different name for it. 1,000 years ago, they had a different name for it. But I know you understand what I'm saying when I say it. So I say it. Okay, so here we go. We got the principle. Love is the only true guidance system because it alone reflects foundational reality completely. It's the sum total of nature. Excellent. We have the pattern. People who operate for outcome are led by the intellect. It's only a matter of time before those people are misled. Why? Because they're dwelling in illusion. Hard to get a real result when you dwell in illusion. You feel me? So now that we talked about the principle, the pattern, we need to talk about the path. We need to talk about the path. Okay, so Twin is saying it's crazy when we fall into that pattern without even realizing it, without even realizing it, without even realizing it, without it. What about building institutions so that you do get people who are driven by the intellect? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like we're engineering in order to get it, in order to get the result of people living in delusion. Okay, she's saying, oh, okay. Um, Emotional versus mental intelligence. Okay, William Howard, say something. So. First of all, welcome in, William. You know what I'm saying? But emotional versus mental intelligence. Let me know. Say more because I want to know exactly what the question is. Because I think there's a lot of different ways to talk about the nature of intelligence, and I want to make sure that I'm being as clear as possible. Okay, so Sublime says, I can think of so many places where we shut off our intuition and let intellect override it. Absolutely. All the time. Very true all the time. For sure, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Severe severe ed coach. Welcome in. I'm gonna say that. Drop your name in the chat for real. You know what I'm saying? Drop your name in the chat. Okay, so here we go. Because I want to shout out everybody who's in here. Principle. We have the pattern. Now we need the path. Here we go. In order to do this, in order to move from the path of relying on the intellect, of over relying on it, on misusing the intellect in places where it cannot serve us, right? Like we got all kinds of tools as humans. I got all kinds of hammers, but I don't use the hammer when a hammer is not necessary. I don't use a hammer when what I really need is tweezers. So I don't want to misuse my tools, you understand? And I think that if you limit yourself to just what you can observe with your already limited five senses, and then you treat that as if that is factual reality because it's empirical, because you can observe it. When every instrument on our planet tells us, or I should say, every instrument that tells us that we actually only see in one frequency of light, we only perceive 0.0001% of all there is to hear. We can only smell a portion of all there is to smell. Our brains are only evolved for so much data input. Why would we ever believe that what we're observing is true reality when we have so much evidence to the contrary? So what I'm saying is this: the path forward is to move. Uh-oh. Let's say the breakthrough pen is almost out. Okay, we good. Is to move from, oh, my bad. Is to move from outcome thinking to love-based thinking. So we move from outcome-based thinking to love-based thinking. Okay, so how can we do that? Well, there is one way. The simplest way that I'm going to give you tonight is one single question. One single question that you can ask yourself anytime you're moving throughout your day. And that single question is this. Let's see if I can put this in a box for you. The single question is this. Okay. uh, is it loving to do this now? The path forward is to move from outcome-based thinking to love-based thinking. Uh, uh, Dang. One question that you can ask is anytime you're doing an activity, ask yourself the one question: is it loving to do this right now? What I need you to understand is that love is different than want. It's not about what you want to do. The reason I opened up the show talking about going to do Countdown to Breakthrough, the reason I opened up the show to ask if someone wanted, to fly down to, the reason I opened up today's show to talk about my journey with flying down to Atlanta to do Countdown to Breakthrough is because I want you to know that it's not about what I want. It's not about want. It's not about wanting things. This is not about desire. That what I'm saying is that love already has, it already wants to, it already knows how to express itself. All you have to do is follow. in every moment of the day. In every single moment of the day, there's not a moment when love doesn't have a voice. Sometimes love just says, be cool, stay calm, do nothing. Sometimes love says, prepare a meal for your family. Sometimes love says, wash the dishes. Sometimes love says, don't wash the dishes. Sometimes love says, work 1 hour today. Sometimes love says, work 16 hours today. Your role is to trust. Your role really is to get in touch with love and make sure that you're actually in touch with the unitary experience, the unitary force behind all existence. Like that, it's pretty important. Do that first. But once you're there, it's then to just abide and trust. Simply abide and trust. I understand some people may say, okay, well, how do I get to the unitary force behind all experience? Well, that's what we'll get there. That's the practice. That's what I'm saying. But just to help you understand where we're going and why we're going is to help you understand that look, you want to get beyond all doubt, you're gonna need to move from outcome-based thinking to love-based thinking. The simplest way to do that after you get in touch with love is to say, is it loving to do this right now? And if not, you can ask a follow-up question, which would be, then what would I love to do right now? And whatever that thing is, go do that thing. And then once it's done, listen for love again, and it'll give you another suggestion, and then go do that thing. And then at the end of that thing, you do the next thing, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. And then by the end of all of it, it's the end of your life. And guess what? You've lived a life of nothing but pure love, serving people along the way. See, folks, you may think that your love for filmmaking is just selfish, but then you find that you're able to help somebody process emotional pain that they haven't been able to deal with for a year. You may think that your love for martial arts is selfish, but then you see that your leadership in your dojo has helped people create more discipline in their own lives. You may think that your love for cooking is unnecessary or selfish, but then you find that it's actually what connects people together on Sundays and your family. You dig what I'm saying? Like you're serving a larger purpose, though to you it only feels like love, and that's the point. It's different than want. If what I want is to go to Atlanta and be in them clubs, but what I love is to go to Atlanta or anywhere and express this love, express whatever this thing in me is for people. It's the difference between outcome-based thinking and love-based thinking. And in order for us to reach as human beings to reach the next stage of civilization, and of course the next stage of literal biological evolution, we're going to require a tighter system of coordination. There ain't nothing better than love. So when you hear people say, "Oh man, it's all love," like you think about the way that love kind of gets used in the culture, but now when you hear it, you'll be reminded of something much greater. You understand? When you hear it now, you'll be reminded of something much greater. However, the person is using it. Oh, I love that for you. Like people will say that. I love that for you. Okay, cool. But you're hearing it at a different level though. Interesting. So we understand the principle that love is the only true guidance system because it alone reflects foundational reality. We understand the pattern that people who operate from outcome are actually being led by the intellect and are destined to feel doubt because the intellect can only adjust for variables that are known, not for variables that are unknown, and certainly not for relationships between unknown variables. And we know that the path forward is to shift from outcome based thinking to love-based thinking. Oh, here we go. Shift from outcome-based thinking to love-based thinking, which means we need to get first into the frequency of love. I'm gonna put that here. This represents the frequency. Being in the frequency of love, then we can ask this question: whatever I'm doing, is it loving to do this right now? If the answer is yes, and you'll feel it as a yes inside of your chest, go ahead and get that done. If the answer isn't, if you don't feel that yes, then it's a no. Simple. If you don't feel that yes, then it's a no. Simple. Provided you've gotten into the frequency of love first. We'll get to that by the end of the night. We'll get to our practices by the end of the night. Absolutely. But just so you understand where we're going and why we're going, this is how this works. Okay, so here we go. Ethan. Oh, what? Yo, that's so crazy. Okay, buddy in the chat right now is okay, so buddy in the chat right now, his name is Ethan Roach. Um, he's actually one of the more talented. I told y'all I do a lot of submission fighting, right? So he's one of the more talented. Uh, he was like one of the most talented white belts I've ever seen. There's only one other person that I've ever seen learn the things this quickly. Anyway, my bro's in the room right now, and so I was just saying about the martial art thing. I had no idea that he was in the room, but I was just saying that your love for martial arts. You'd have to rewind the tape to hear what I just said. But I said something like your love for martial arts is somehow can inspire people or whatever the case is. And then Buddy's actually in the room, and I met him on the dojo, actually in the dojo. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, King Wolf, happy holidays. I'm Wilfredo. Wilfredo, welcome in. Very excited to be a part of this live, and I appreciate everything you guys speak about. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so William Howard is saying, is love a feeling, emotion, or action? Ethan saying, miss you, bro. Oh, yeah, Ethan, man. That's it's love, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's love. That's crazy. I was just there with the dude. Oh, wow. You see that? Unknown variables. You see that? Can you see, bro? Come on now. Come on now. Can you see that here I am talking and I'm speaking from this love and we're talking about unknown variables and I'm just throwing out metaphors and arguments and then they get confirmed on the live, bro. Well, come on now. Come on. So you have to see what I'm saying. You have to see that this connectivity, this connection that your synchronicities, you've heard people talk about these things called synchronicities before, where things just seem to kind of line up and connect. Well, how could they not if all is one? You understand? So basically, you just get more access to these basic relationships that already exist. You feel me? So that's so funny. Okay, so I don't want to miss your question though. Let me get Rington Nietzsche. Hi, Dr. Shawn. Rington, can you put your name in the chat? I want to shout you out without butchering this name. Wow. Twin saying love too. Oh, that's fun. Okay, William, I haven't forgot about you, bro. Okay, so is love a feeling, emotion, or action? What would y'all say? What would y'all tell William? Is love a feeling, an emotion, or an action? Mm. Mm. Twin, what would you say to William? I'm just erasing the breakthrough board. What would you say? Sublime, what would you say? Because I'm curious. I'm curious. Because I know what I would say. I would say all the above. You dig what I'm saying? So, William, you're saying is love a feeling, an emotion, or an action? These are distinct questions. These are distinct categories. So, I define a feeling as anything that can be felt, right? So, a feeling different than an emotion. Emotion, sadness, happiness, joy. You dig what I'm saying? Like, you understand what an emotion is. But a feeling is something that's a little deeper than just an emotion. Something that's a little bit more, a little wider as well, because a feeling is, you can feel when somebody's looking at you. That's not necessarily an emotion, but you can feel it. You can feel when somebody slaps you in the face. That's not an emotion, but you can feel it. You feel me? There's a feeling is we could just make it akin to like an awareness. So feeling is awareness. Emotion is that psychoneurological energy that allows you to typically you feel emotions inside of your body. They typically resonate with a certain component of your body, right? So the Chinese were really instrumental in carrying this knowledge forward, where they said, okay, well, if you're angry, that's gonna, like, affect your spleen, and depression will affect your ribs and your heart, your lung. You know what I'm saying? So there's like emotions are like felt inside of the body, but they are typically tied to stories that we're telling ourselves. So that's very good. Or is love an action, something that is done or not done? The answer to that is that love is all of it. You feel it as an energy. You could call it an emotion. If you have children, you feel it when you look into your children's eyes. But, and it's also an action, right? The fact that what I'm doing right now is out of pure love for doing it. So it's activity, but it's activity that's guided by this deeper impulse, what you might call this deeper feeling. You could even call it this deeper emotion. Love is the totality of reality, which means it must be all three. What's important is that you don't limit yourself to just saying that love is just an emotion. I like to say that when we talk about love, the feeling of it, the emotion of it, this is kind of a good way to think of it. I think about when you go and look in a mirror, you're looking in that mirror and you're looking at your reflection. Now, the reflection is not you. The reflection is just a reflection of you. It's just a reflection in the mirror. You could break the mirror, you could destroy the reflection by just breaking the mirror up, but you would still be in the same place. However, if you're standing in front of this mirror, that reflection is important, because that reflection means that you are in front of the mirror. If you ever go and stand in front of a mirror and there's no reflection, that's a problem. Also, if you're not in front of a mirror and your reflection appears, that's also a problem. These would be unnatural events. And so when I think about what love is emotionally, and I think about that emotional love, that feeling of love, it's the feeling of love is like the reflection. The feeling is not the ultimate truth any more than the reflection in the mirror is the ultimate truth of you. But it is that the feeling itself means that your true self is present. Just like when you stand in front of that mirror, the reflection means that your true self is present in that room in front of that mirror. The fact that you can see it, you can experience it. That's why I talk about love more than I talk about the Tao, or more than I talk about Dharma, or more than I talk about any other sort of religious icon that's meant to articulate love, is because when we talk about love, we're talking about a felt experience, something that you can actually work with, something that's actually guiding and directing your steps, pushing you forward with tremendous motivation, the ultimate motivation, leading, yes, unto feeling, emotion, and action, all in one. Very good question, William. It's all that. So Sublime said all of it. All of it's absolute. It's absolute. It is absolute. Um, yes, SDH. Okay, Twain, what you saying? You saying yes, SDH? I believe it can be a state of being. Um, Okay, so Twin is saying I would have to say love is a state, although felt as emotion, that energy in motion, but let's go deeper. Love the frequency of love. Let me ask the chat, do we feel love, see love, or is it a frequency? So Twin is asking y'all, do we feel love, see love, or is it a frequency? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, these are great questions. So folks, one of the things that I like to do is to say that if you're getting value from anything we're talking about here, I do want you to share this. If someone you love needs this message, send this video to them right now. Because these moments can be the moment that changes somebody's life. And with that said, I want to show you something. I found this cat. His name is Darius. I found it online naturally, and so let me pull this up. Let me see if I can just grab this right quick. Okay, because he says something that I think is relevant to what we're talking about. Here we go.
Will soon fall because they're built on systems. All of the systems built by man will soon fall because they're built on systems of control, dominion over, and not loving. And we're moving into a state where the only thing that exists is love at its purest state experienced here. So all of these systems will have no choice but to fall and be seen. That's what everybody is experiencing now. That's what everybody's seeing for that final thing. All of the systems built.
I've been writing about this, but when I saw Darius, his name is Darius J. Wright. I like what he's saying. It's like that's exactly how I see it, and that's always interesting. Is that ideas that feel like, oh, this is, you try and claim an idea, and I'm like, oh yeah, I could definitely see this is going to happen. You get these visions or whatever the case is, and it's like, oh, bro, it's shared. You know what I'm saying? Like, all you gotta do is tap into the frequency and you get it. But when I saw dude, I was like, okay, he's vibing on the same deal. He understands that the entire world will be deconstructed and rebuilt. Everything that we do. Remember the three institutions that are necessary in order to control people's minds. The ones that the elite, your power players, the so-called elite anyway, are fighting to make sure that they control. If you remember what those were from last week, schools, religion, and the media. When we engage in something like the Breakthrough Live, and when we decide that we want to live our lives from this higher position, we don't want to just do what somebody else told us to do just so we can make a check so that one day we can retire, so that one day we can die. You dig what I'm saying? We're interested in actually being more and loving more, seeing more, growing more, and frankly, doing all of the things that we chose to do before we took birth, before we decided to be born here. Something like that is going to require a departure away from outcome-based thinking. We're going to have to move away from just trying to do stuff to get stuff. That's the biggest thing, is letting go of that doing stuff to get stuff. The world will naturally fall into a higher frequency or rise to a higher frequency when we just put the right values in front, when we allow love to lead with the correct understanding of what love actually is. We have to see it as more than an emotion. To get at William's question, if we just think of love as just action, as just emotion, or as just a feeling, we miss the point. We miss the point. Because again, that would be us trying to turn love into an outcome, something that we can judge on an itemized checklist of whether or not an action meets the criteria of love. This is insane. It is an experiential phenomenon. Quality we can discern in actions. We can tell if something comes from love or not. But to try and, force an action to be love is crazy. And it's an impossible situation. And so folks tend to avoid the love conversation altogether, and as a result, rely on lesser logics in order to construct the world. And lo and behold, most people suffering because of that. Because we're not returning people to who they really are, because we're not returning people to what you may call God, because we're not allowing people to cultivate and grow in their divine frequency, you've got a world built on fear, on people looking to control others so that they can protect their position, so that they can protect their resources. They're thinking, oh boy, there's only so much to go around because I can only observe these limited resources with my limited senses, and therefore that must be the truth of reality. I need to protect minds. I need to get minds. That person is being led by fear and outcome-based thinking. And then the real pollutant happens when we start training children to do the same thing. So I like what Darius was saying, that once people understand what this is, moving from outcome-based thinking to love-based thinking, which is to say frequency-based thinking, yeah, the systems built by fear will fall. It just so happens that happens to be most of them. Okay, so here we go. Let me see what y'all talking about up in here. Okay, so all right, so Felicity's saying there is no doing, just being. Love is so Felicity's saying love is universal oneness. If y'all know Felicity, Felicity is my wife. She's in the chat. She says love is universal oneness. I think people often default to love as an emotion. That's when you get people saying love can't pay the bills. But the love we talk of has no limits to what it can do. 100%. Okay, William Howard saying respect. Ethan saying few, well said. Twin saying, I do believe everything is you pushed out. Absolutely, everything is you pushed out. So, which means that, what would it mean if we were to abide in love? What would that say about, us? Okay, just like water can go through many phases, liquid, solid, reflective, drinkable. Come on. But what remains is the frequency of you. Hey, twin, go ahead, twin. All right, hey, I got a shot twin out. So twin says, look, he said, love is just like water. You sound like poets, champ. Hold on now. So twin says, look, love is just like water. All right, twin, hold on. Let me get into my poetry bag with this. I'm about to do this like we in a jam session. He says, love is just like water. It can go through many phases: liquid, solid, reflective, drinkable. Come on. But what remains is the frequency of you. Oh, hallelujah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm talking about. Yes, 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 twin. Yes, twin. Yes, twin. Yes. 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 Okay. Y'all okay? Okay, well, I'm glad it's making sense, because a lot of times I just be wonder if any of this is gonna make sense, but like it seems like y'all are understanding. It's not making sense like it used to. The old world that you saying, that old world sublime. Okay, she said I believe it because I've been backing up from religion as it seems to be deteriorating. It's not making sense like it used to. Right, right. As the frequency expands, see. Should I show y'all the book? I'm all taking all this. We're about to get back to the show, but like, should I show y'all the book? Because I've been writing about this notion. New book, different than spiritual responsibility, but this notion of what happens when we expand into frequency-based thinking. I'm saying that this new species, the future species of humans will be Homo amorous, what I call the beings that are defined by love. and love as a force, as a massive infinite force. These humans are able to connect psychoneurologically with this love force, you understand? With the unitary force that is common to all existence. Okay. And I say, okay, I think what's happening is these new humans, future humans, will develop sense organs where they will literally be able to detect the frequency of other people. And so in that world, prevarication, or what's just called lying, would be like those humans would respond to somebody lying in their face, like how we would respond to somebody telling a bad joke. Like just kind of like in a world where people who would be lying in order to get power, they could have been politicians in the world we live in, but in this future world, those people would be like, thanks. Mm. Because as humans start to detect and develop and base their survival, so to speak, their growth, their lives off of being able to detect that which lies beyond the five senses, to detect frequency, what I'm saying, it's like that feeling that you get when the vibe is off. What I'm saying is that humans will develop an actual organ that will be useful in helping people discern exactly what the vibe is. That's the future growth of human evolution. And so what I'm saying is that when we abide in love, it becomes easier for us to start to turn on those genes. Not in the sense that we're going to start developing organs, but just in the sense that I can see who's in love and who's not. I can see who's lying and who's not. I can see which religious doctrine is based off of control, which ones were developed by empires in order to subvert their populations before the age of literacy, and which ones are more or less helpful. You can just see the difference. You'd be like, oh, God. It's like love gives you a third type of seeing, a third way to sense. William saying spiritual awareness and love. Yeah, twin saying absolutely. It's interesting because two people can say the same thing, but one is offensive and the other is thought provoking. Love colored one while controlling, or ego colored the other. Exactly. It's the same thing. It's the same thing for real. And I think that okay, so twin is saying you want a sneak peek of the book. Hey man, put your twos in the chat if you want a sneak peek. I don't, I'm an artist, so I don't be trying to show my stuff. But like if you want to see that particular portion, just put your twos in the chat. I just want to know I'm not wasting time on the show. You know what I'm saying? Um, just want to know I'm not wasting time on the show. Put your twos in the chat. I'm gonna give you a second while I check this out. Twin saying that's deep felicity. Definitely agree with that. Sublime, I believe it. Okay. All right. I see Twin put his twos up in the chat. I don't see nobody else's twos. Okay, there you go. Okay, cool. So let me show you this. Let me see if I can pull this up for you. Okay. All right. So I think the big thing is I'm just pulling up the specific chapter on human love and human evolution. So that's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm sitting here deciding how I want the book to come out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you want, I should show y'all the cover too. You know, I should show y'all the cover too. All right, so let me show you this right quick while I'm sitting here playing and blowing this up. Um, all right, let's make sure you can hear me. I'm about to click to it. Just make sure you can. Let me know if you can hear me. Here we go. All right, can you hear me? Put a 3 in the chat if you can hear me. Could y'all hear me? I'm gonna say put a 3 in the chat once I get in there. Just I want you to be able to hear me when I'm on the small screen. Can you hear me? 3 in the chat. And Felicity, if you can hear it, then we'll just go with that. Shoot me a text right quick though. Okay. Cool. All right. So And then I just lost my spot. Okay. Okay, so here we go. We got chapter 3 right here. Let me just read a section here, which is that human beings are evolving beyond a purely rational system of thinking or analysis-based thinking to a higher order of thought I call frequency-based thinking. Right, reasoning based on analytical skills, processing skills, that's analysis. Frequency-based thinking is reasoning based on energy processing skills. Right, and so that's cool. That's for another time. It's a component of what we're talking about. But here's the deal. This is the part that I'm interested in. I'm telling you this. Before I saw Darius say what he just said, I'm saying this: fear will be eradicated from the human genome. The next stage of human evolution means one thing: fear will be eradicated from the human genome. Science tells us that humans change their DNA with habitual thought and emotional patterns, either turning on dormant genes that are helpful or turning off dormant genes that are helpful. But humans have an unprecedented opportunity to achieve millions of years of evolution that no amount of gene editing can replicate. And so, while new innovations in gene editing technology excite people today, the real opportunity for upgrading the human genome lies within the way in which humans direct their own minds psychoneurologically. That's because while gene editing allows humans to select desirable traits in embryos, it cannot coordinate human behavior at scale. Gene editing cannot make a human being make wise decisions. It can only make a human being more likely to create decisions some scientist thinks is wise. Only love can make a human being make a wise decision because love is the wisdom itself. Okay, cool. So, because love is so energy complete, you do not build up stress toxins in your tissues that break down your body and brain over time. But most importantly, you do not pass on fear-based genes to your offspring, which means they will not pass on fear-based genes to their offspring. As the next phase of human evolution begins, I believe humans will sexually select their mates based on fearless markers. Those individuals that appear to resonate with a deep sense of inner clarity and peace will easily find cooperative mates. But those who constantly need to prove themselves against others will be ignored. That's because humans cannot move to higher stages of civilization if human progress is always being interrupted by warfare and fear-based perceptions of lack. Humans will realize that the purpose of fear in human biology is to help the organism become aware of their surroundings. And therefore, those humans that expand their awareness have no need for fear in the first place. Okay. Without this feeling perception of oneness, humans will continue to squabble over resources and kill in the name of God. However, by establishing humanity in the higher perception of love, humans come into greater harmony with mind, self, society, and nature in a way that is universally beneficial. In the future, humans will be able to smell fear in others. A person speaking in fear will be experienced by future humans as if they have a foul odor. Human deception will be immediately detectable by the average person to the point where lies will literally smell like hot garbage, which means individuals who engage in deception will immediately be corrected or outcasted. This is how upgrades to human electromagnetic rhythms or frequency upgrades change human behavior at scale and support group evolution. Okay. Okay. So I think y'all are seeing what I'm saying. Was that clear? There's a lot to read. You know what I'm saying? Like I still got like a lot of editing and all that. But like, let me know. Just put a yes in the chat if you're understanding what I'm saying. If you're getting what I'm saying. I think a lot of people will say, well, fear is necessary for our survival. And it's only because they haven't thought, they're only thinking about first order consequences. They're not thinking about second and third. And it's like, well, fear is useful for what? For making the organism alert. Okay, so alert is just like a level of attention, or you could say heightened awareness. Okay, cool. So the person who already is in a state of heightened awareness, the person who's already alert would have no need for that fear, right? Because they're already what the fear was. They've already served the purpose that the fear was meant for. Okay, so we're talking about something that's beyond just courage, where you're trying to do something afraid. We're talking about just not even, yeah, you're too much in love to be experiencing fear. And not only that, you understand that there's nothing to fear anyway. Once that happens, it's a wrap. Once people really understand that there's nothing to fear anyway, that's a wrap. Sublime saying hot garbage. Okay, I just want to make sure y'all can at least hear me. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here snapping in this little box in the corner. Um, okay, so yes, amazing. Fearless people don't fight wars or allow them. 100% though. Sublime saying fearless people do not fight wars or allow them. I got a whole portion in here on warfare. I spend a lot of time thinking about warfare, and so it's like, I should. Let me see if I can find that. Because that part is kind of raw with it. So it's kind of like, I spent so much time thinking about the nature of warfare that a lot of people say, well, there won't be any wars anymore, bro. Mm, all I'm trying to tell you is that in love, like the wars don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a different. And so I want to kind of show you the mathematics of how we arrive there. But I really need to have this more planned out. You feel me? Because oh, here you go. Okay. Okay, let me show you this real quick. Let me show you this real quick. Okay. All right. Okay, so love and war. It's literally a chapter. How can we talk about love without talking about the challenges of the world? War is what happens when groups fight over who has the right to self-determine. If you are reading this right now, your people are already at war. I do not judge war as good or bad. I simply evaluate the fruits of war against the damages of war. And what is the total profit? Millions die. Unique technologies, innovations, and histories destroyed. Humanity starts all over again, rediscovering what was once common knowledge, restarting centuries-long explorations that were once near completion, rehashing old problems that were once solved, all in the name of control. This low level of coordination holds humans back from solving bigger problems in the future because war, regardless of who wins, kills forward momentum and the innovative thought systems of the conquered. The name of the game in all war is control over two primary resources: people and their stuff. As the next evolution of human species emerges, you humans of the future, Homo amorous, will still have to face a world challenged by warring Homo sapiens sapiens. But how can you do it? How can you fight and grow in peace at the same time? You will use love. Love is the unassailable weapon. That's because in every war, conquerors need control over labor, but love ensures that your labor is only directed toward the things that excite you the most. A person whose behavior is directed only toward what excites them most cannot be controlled or forced into labor even to save their own family's life. Love-based people may choose to fight to the death, but only from a deeper conviction untouched by fear. Love-based people can be imprisoned or killed, but they cannot be conquered, which defeats the first purpose of war because unconquerable, disobedient people are difficult to imprison or fully eradicate. Love-based people are so difficult to enslave or integrate into a new regime. That's because new regimes need everyone to follow the rules to properly function. What would have happened if people forced into American slavery during the transatlantic slave trade had refused to complete any task they did not fully love? They did not fully love. The work of building the new empire would have never begun. People would have been killed, but millions of people would have never known bondage. That's because once the slave enterprise was no longer cost effective, Europeans would have abandoned slavery within 2.5 years instead of 250 years. I share this not to place blame on peoples forced into slavery, for those people were only doing the best they knew how to do. I am simply revealing the power of staying in love no matter what. Because when people cannot be manipulated or controlled, you either spend the time, money, and manpower to eliminate them, or you learn how to work together cooperatively. Love-based people force systems to adapt to themselves because they refuse to do any labor or follow any rule apart from love. This is how evolved humans both fight and build massive cooperation at the same time. Or die and return to the infinite ocean of love that holds up this entire universe. Either way, it all ends in love. Does this frighten you? Then know this: life gets very simple when you are no longer afraid of pain or death. For only in organizing around love can humans reach a superior level of coordination necessary for the quantum evolution of human civilization. In the future, is it possible that Homo amorous will not have anything we would define as war today? Or it is possible, rather. In the future, it is possible that Homo amorous will not have anything we would define as war today. That's because love-based people cannot spend their time in fear thinking about how to control other tribes. Love simply will not permit such behavior, as love and fear cannot coexist at the same time. I think you get where I'm going with this. The point is that, look, for now, I cannot promise the end of war. I can only promise that in love, no war matters. There is a reason people say all is fair in love and war. War does not care about rules and regulations. Anything goes in war no matter what the leaders say. But in love, the same is also true. In war, if you can kill under any circumstance, then in love, you can choose to follow the highest frequency under any circumstance. I prefer that you love your enemies rather than pretend you do not have any. When you admit that you do have enemies and understand that your enemies do not have a personal vendetta against you, your enemies do not have a personal vendetta against you, they are just afraid, then you will see that your enemies are only doing what they know how to do based on their current level of evolution. But if you are ready to see love as the final frontier of humanity, then you can be just as merciless in following love, choosing love in the face of enemies seeking control through fear. In time, you will be victorious, for the very fabric of reality is on your side. Okay, that was a little too much reading. You know what I'm saying? We won't do that again. But at the same time, like I just wanted you to see where my head's at. And you know what I'm saying? Y'all be gassing me with energy. And so I'm like, oh, all right, I gotta show y'all everything. Um, but you get what I'm saying. But you get what I'm saying. Okay, so the Bible is saying they trust themselves to navigate in a way that serves their highest self, with the need to snuff out without the need to snuff out enemies, as enemies are constrained and harmed by their own stupidity. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. So here we go, folks. If you haven't taken the breakthrough challenge yet, I think we need to get to that. Let's go ahead and let me run that real quick. I think that this conversation is super duper important. Mm. Check it out. If you're someone who's thinking that you've done the affirmations, the therapy, the shadow work, but you still find yourself reacting the same way when life gets hard, you know you should be happy, you've grown a lot, but something still triggers you, you keep falling back into old emotions, old patterns, like something deep in you still runs the show. You want real freedom, not just moments of calm. Everyone online talks about letting go or raising your vibration, but no one gives you a clear step-by-step way to actually break these cycles that keep replaying in your life. You're tired of chasing healing. You want a breakthrough. If that sounds like you, it's because you haven't learned to transform memory, emotion, and identity at the root level, which leaves you controlled by the past instead of creating from peace. That's why I made the Breakthrough Challenge. The Breakthrough Challenge is your 6-week path to emotional freedom. Once a week, you watch one episode of Countdown to Breakthrough, complete one mini workbook, experience one transformation. On day 1, you'll break generational cycles. By week 6, you'll become unbreakable. Hit the link in the description to take the Breakthrough Challenge now and become a breakthrough believer for free. Okay, generally speaking, folks, we like to open up the phone lines. And we can still do that today, but I think the thing that I want you to know is that, oh, can y'all hear that? It's like a tapping. It's like some type of, it's like some type of tapping. Hold on. I think, oh, y'all know who came through? Y'all know who came through? It's Breakthrough Turtle. What's good, B? Breakthrough Turtle always has something special for us. At least he's been knocking it out of the park for us. This week, Breakthrough, I'm super interested in what you got to say. And guess who's here? Guess who's actually on the call with us tonight? Who's on live with us tonight? She's in the chat, bro. Yes, Sublime is in the chat. Okay, 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 okay. So what you got for me, man? You know what I'm saying? What you got for me? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, Breakthrough. Breakthrough always gives us something. Let's see what Breakthrough Turtle. He from New York, so I call him B. He said he got an underground cop. He live he's in Manhattan? All right. The moment you have in your heart this extraordinary thing called love and feel the depth, the delight, the ecstasy of it, you will discover that for you, the world is transformed. Jiddu Krishnamurti. The moment you have in your heart this extraordinary thing called love and feel the depth, the delight, the ecstasy of it, you will discover that for you, the world is transformed. Yes. How powerful is that? Jiddu Krishnamurti is one of the great thinkers of non-duality in the Advaita tradition, and he's saying that the moment you have in your heart this thing called love, you feel its depth, the world is transformed for you. How can we concern ourselves with doubt as we're talking about tonight when there is all of this energy, all of this aliveness, all of this fullness that we're connected to that is guiding our steps? All we have to do is just do the thing that's loving to do. And there's only enough time for that. That's all we have to do. There's no doubt when it comes to love. There's just the love. You know what you love doing? Assuming that you are connected back with this foundational energy. You can feel it inside of your heart. Jiddu Krishnamurti, these are Indian mystics who are letting you know that the moment you have in your heart the extraordinary thing called love and feel the depth, the delight, the ecstasy of it, you will discover that for you, the world is transformed. Amen. Amen. I don't know who got more out of that exchange between me and the young lady on the street, Nicole, who was speaking about and dealing with her mother and the passing of her mother. But I just know that the entire transformation, the entire experience felt like a transformation in consciousness for me. Felt like a transformation. Okay, Sublime, Sublime saying, "Hey, Breakthrough Turtle, she got the turtles in there, bro. She got the turtles in the chat for you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? There's another thread also. I think that it is war shows us that death and kills so many people that I mean, question who the winner really is. Excellent, Sublime. Absolutely, y'all got your turtles in the chat. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And so, Breakthrough Turtle, man, I've really been just digging. I've been digging the things that you've been showing us, dude. You know, what's that? Oh, you have something else. So what you talking about then? It's like a okay, okay. Well, do you want to introduce it or should I? All right. Well, look. So Breakthrough Turtle is introducing us to something called the Breakthrough Breakdown. This segment is where we take something from pop culture. We take a pop culture component, a certain question, certain ideas, certain things that people are talking about, and we provide and apply what we have understood today to the message. And so, to that end, Breakthrough Turtle, if you want to just go ahead and, I mean, just press the keys right here, Breakthrough, and just take us there. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get there. You feel me? Let's just get there. All right. You got to press the other one, Breakthrough Turtle. And the other one. Okay.
And it cut me. Most I cried in my life, by far. I just lost my father, and it cut me. Most I cried in my life, by far. 41 years old, the most I've ever cried in my life over the last month or whatever. But then I'm talking to other people. I need to be strong now for him. You know what I'm saying? I need to be the rock. So I can't, I have to pull back mine. And I don't know if this is societal. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to pull back mine so I can be there for my loved ones. So that whole phrase, I guess, of be a man, be tough, all of that stuff, you're helping other people as well because my thought is, tell me if I'm wrong, I can deal with more than you can deal with. So I need to be there for you over myself. Like that concept, I mean, personally, bro, how would you tell me to deal with the situation that I currently am going through and have went through?
Okay. So here's that question that comes through. And, I believe that's the Pivot podcast. Great, great, great pod. But this person, interestingly enough, is dealing with the loss of a parent, just like the young woman, my bad, just like the young woman, Nicole, that we saw at the top of the show. And the one I ran into on the street. But my question for you all is, based off of what we know, based off the principle, the pattern, and the path, how would you answer this hostess question? How would you answer this person is saying that, his parent passed, but because he feels that he's stronger than other people, he needs to keep showing up for other people because he thinks that he can handle the pain. And so I wonder, he's saying, how do I deal with this situation? What advice would you have for me? Because apparently trying to take on other people's burdens because you want to play, because you feel that you're stronger than other people can backfire. And so that's really where his question is coming from. I wonder, based off the principle, the pattern, and the path, how would you answer that? Remember, our principle today was that love is the only true guidance system. The pattern was that people who are looking for and guided by the intellect will be lost in illusion. People who are guided by outcome are necessarily being guided by the intellect, and the intellect is incapable of dealing with the totality of reality, and so it produces doubt. The path is, well, I'll let you all recall that. Put in the chat. How would you deal with this young man? Because the reason I ask you is because I want you to start thinking, reasoning from this perspective, seeing things from this perspective, where now you can look and say, oh, wait, I know that frequency because I've handled it first inside of myself. I can be available to do so should I be called on for others in the time of their need. I wonder, I really want to take a moment to let you really answer that. Just put your best answer in the chat right now. Put your best answer in the chat right now. Thank you, Breakthrough Turtle. They got the turtles in the chat for you. Yeah. I'd be super curious before I even say anything else. I'm just gonna sit and I want to see what y'all say. Let's see what y'all say. Okay, so Sublime is saying and showing his grief, those who live with him or follow him, that allows them to feel safe and show their grief, puts it all out on the table so that they can heal it. Okay, cool, cool. What else? I wonder what you would say. Thank you, Sublime, for that. See, as I'm looking at this and I'm hearing this person, the very first thing I'm thinking is just like when you get on an airplane, you cannot try and feed somebody else the oxygen mask. You cannot try and secure somebody else's support system, somebody else's connection to life through the oxygen mask until you've secured yours first. Until you secured yours first. So in times when this person is asking this this question, but the question itself is coming from a certain level of doubt in the grieving process. This person's like, am I grieving right? But asking it in such a way that the story that he is telling himself about how strong he is for other people could potentially get in the way of his own healing, because he's not allowing himself to fully deal with and process his own hurt. If the way to process our hurt is to go and help somebody else, that is very sweet. But the problem is that if they do not respond in a way that we think is itself appropriate, we can end up lashing out at them, hurting them for not seeing us, for not doing right. We end up compounding the grief part. We're not serving out of love. We're serving, or at least we're not serving out of love exclusively. We're also serving because we need to. Because, oh man, I gotta go. I feel like I gotta go help somebody in order to process and get through my own pain. As opposed to just getting quiet and sitting with the thoughts, sitting with the emotions, sitting with the feelings, sitting with the memories. I tell you, as somebody who also lost my father at 28 years old, suddenly. But fortunately, there was enough understanding to know that, wait, I'll just come back to this God source. I'll just come back to that which is connected to all things. I'll just come back to that place where nothing is ever lost, because this world and that world and any other world are all connected. And let me feel what that energy is like. Let me allow for all the thoughts, all the memories, all the emotions. Let me feel everything. Because I have this deeper understanding that there is something within me that is bigger than all of those other things. And only when I touch that infinite place, that infinite source within, can I recalibrate my guidance system and not only find my own path forward, but help somebody else do the same. And so, truly, when we're talking about dealing with doubt, when we're talking about dealing with situations where we're completely uncertain, we don't know how to move on, be it from the death of a loved one or from the death of an identity that we used to have, a certain purpose we used to think was ours. In all cases, coming back to this infinite ground of existence and letting it cleanse our thoughts, our memories, our emotions from the inside out. For the podcast host, Pivot podcast host, I'm saying until you heal yourself, you got no business trying to heal somebody else. No business. Because until you are a vessel for love to flow through, like what you can give somebody a temporary break or comic relief or something like that, but it's very different than showing somebody what it looks like to live in wholeness, to live in the understanding that nothing real is ever lost. Whether we're talking about the death of a person or the death of a purpose or something that you thought you needed to do, the death of an identity, coming back to this ground of wholeness, coming back to this love, we see that, oh, wow, everything that comes and goes is not the eternal one. But if I could just connect with that eternal one, then I can live life fully, at peace when things come and at peace when they go. I can let go of the outcome. I don't need to try and adjust for all of the variables I don't know. I can rely on something that is more intelligent than my intellect, more intelligent than any human intellect. And I can allow it to guide me, and yes, if necessary, to heal others through me. Not because I need to feel like I'm being useful, but because I'm connected with this divine source that simply wants to express itself. Love is not looking for fame. Love is not ambitious. Love does not need to be the healer. Love simply is. And when we can understand that, we can begin to abide in the totality of reality. Let this be our practice. Let this be our practice. And so we're about to go into our practice because I know a lot of people are thinking, okay, well, dang, like, you know what I'm saying? This love thing sounds amazing, but how do I, you know what I'm saying? How do I do that? And you'd be surprised if you're a person who can easily connect with love. You've been on your journey for a long time. You've been meditating for a long time. You understand how it goes. I think sometimes you forget how far you have come. You would be surprised at how many people cannot connect with love on instantly. They might be able to connect with it when they think about their children, but they cannot apply that same love for their children to a stranger or to their enemy group. So what we want to do is be able to expand our boundaries. One of my favorite ways to do this is to come back to the experience of oneness directly. And this is not something that anybody can give you. It's not like something like you can force. It has to be clear seeing. We create the practice here. I give you the technology here, the conscious transformation technology. These things are called kits, conscious transformation technologies, or kits for short. They're just ways that we in transcendent psychology create the opportunities for this deeper seeing. Because once you see, you can't unsee. We'll get to that in just a moment. Felicity saying intellect would tell you I'm stronger than them, so I need to help them first. Love would tell you helping you is helping them. Absolutely, love. Obligation can have you on autopilot and sometimes operating outside of love. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I wish I could tell Felicity's story on here because for her to say that, that's big. Obligation can have you on autopilot. This is a person who, Felicity, I don't believe she remind me saying, is this is a person who comes from a very duty-based family. People who they show up, but they're showing up on duty. They're showing up based off of certain roles, right? People are simply raised to just, we show up, we're going to take care of each other, but there's an obligation situation there. And how many of us have been raised with that? We're raised with obligations. We're raised to think that, oh, well, it's family, so I just got to go do this. Oh, they had my back, so I just got to show up for them in a way that may not even be natural to me, but it's certainly in a way that they just expect. It's a world of expectations, is that world of obligation. And so for Felicity to say obligation can have you on autopilot and sometimes operating outside of love, right? Because now you're just operating for based off of pure expectation and not even your own, based off of somebody else's expectation about what you should be doing. That's deep. Sublime saying having attachments and living for other people's approval will make one physically sick. These are facts. Felicity saying facts. Facts. Twin saying I too have dealt with that frequency. My mom passed and she told me on her deathbed to keep the family together. So I can relate, but also him being the rock, that's how I feel you become that stone. Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with being that stone. But being that stone because it is a natural consequence, it is endemic to who you are, it's because that is what love is asking for you to do, is different than being that stone because somebody thought you needed to be or because you think you need to be. One is a stable stone and the other one is a hollow stone because it's only so much weight. When you don't really love something, it's only so much that you can take before you say, "Oh, I don't even talk to them no more." You like turn away from the family entirely. You know what I'm saying? I don't even talk to them no more. When the expectations drive us away, the obligations drive us away. That's what I mean. We're working in a energy inefficient capacity if we're constantly giving ourselves over unto obligation instead of love. And so what I'm saying tonight is that you must choose one. You can choose a life of obligation or you can choose a life of love, but you cannot serve two masters. One must lead. One must lead. And so, with that said, folks, if you're watching this alone, bring someone with you next week because this is how we can expand this circle of healing so that people understand that when we're talking about healing, we're talking about self-healing first. If we do this well enough, if we take care of just what's here well enough, we create a ripple effect that affects other people without us even knowing. And certainly without us having to think about it, just by being an example, just by being an example. And so, folks, we need to get to our kit today. We need to get to our conscious transformation technology. We need to get to that experience. And I'll tell you this, because, you know what I'm saying, usually after our experience, after we do our kits, we're break, you know what I'm saying, like we're in the zone. And so we're going somewhere else. But I'm telling you this, I was on the other day, these last couple of weeks, especially like the week before last, like I'm sitting here and I'm doing the kits with you. And I just feel I start getting like this just incredibly expansive feeling, right? It's like almost like infinity, like the type of thing that I would need to be in a deep, deep, deep meditation for, right? Just like if you're familiar with astral projection and all that stuff, like you like kind of like that level, but only I'm sitting here talking on the screen. You feel me? I just wanted to. I can't say it after it's done or while it's happening because that'll, you know, what I'm saying, that busts up the experience and all that. But like, but now that it's weeks later, I'm like, yo, there's something going on. It's almost as if by following love, I find more of it. Right? By touching infinity, I somehow can touch more of it. By coming on and just doing whatever this is, there's something I cannot buy, I cannot purchase, that naturally reveals itself. And I know the exact same thing is going to be true for you. And so William is saying true, true. Absolutely, absolutely. So we got to get to our kit. Folks, one of the things that I like to do is start with the mental position. And I think, let me see. We always start with the mental position. This book is called Spiritual Responsibility. It's not the book I just showed you, but it is an excellent one. But we always start with the total system here. Let me see if I can get this in front of you. So we always start with supreme awareness. After we move from supreme awareness, we can go to the iodine mind, and we can go to all these different places later. But until you have the actual phenomenological experience of united oneness, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to do any sort of love deal. So I like to get people to that united experience, because once it's there, then the love emotion, as William was pointing to earlier today, that love emotion, that love feeling, it naturally blossoms. Once you're back into your right mind and you can see that you are indeed, and you can actually experience, you're experiencing it. You can actually experience that you're connected with all things. And to say connected is to say too much, because connected almost sounds like there's like two different things. You're really just one with all things. Then that natural feeling of love naturally blossoms. Has no choice. Eventually you'll be like, oh, I get it. And then once that energy is present, now you can allow it to be your compass. Now you can allow it to be your compass. So what we're doing on the Breakthrough Live is typically we start at step one. We got more stuff. Step one. Let's handle step one. And in this week in particular, there's something that's been coming up for me in my own meditations and study. And it's this notion of what the Buddhists talk about, which is mindfulness. In transcendent psychology, mindfulness tends to be like the super first step. You know, it's just a part of what we do. But I think sometimes it's important to come back and make that part explicit. When we talk about mindfulness, we're talking about a wakefulness and awareness, the ability to know what you're thinking and feeling at all moments of the day. I want to be able to know when a thought is being generated that is contaminated with fear energy or doubtful energy. And I also want to be able to have that same level of awareness so that when that energy of love says move right, I know exactly where to go. I'm not sitting here dealing with a whole bunch of noise because I've listened enough within to know what the sound of love feels like. You dig what I'm saying? What the sound of love is. I've listened enough to know what the sound is. I felt enough within to know what love feels like. And so I can tell when I'm actually abiding in God's will and when I'm just playing. You dig what I'm saying? So tonight's kit is to return us to that mindfulness component. I think it's one of the most essential skill sets, or one of the most essential skills within the larger skill set that is transcendent psychology. And so we're gonna handle that tonight. It's been on my mind, and I think that I definitely want you to have this tool. It's that important. So if you're ready, now's the time to get into a comfortable position, either sitting or laying down. You can stand too, actually, but stand still. To get to a place of stillness, I prefer if your spine is erect. You could even imagine a string attached to the ceiling is holding you up by the crown of your head. And what I want to do is take you through an awareness kit. This one's called Follow the Thought. Right now, close your eyes and take one deep breath with me. Inhale. Exhale. Because healing begins when we are aware. At this time, I want you to place your attention on your breathing. Simply watch and observe the body. Inhale and exhale. Do not control the breath. Simply allow the breath to move on its own accord. You are watching your breathing, just like you watch passing clouds. Simply observe the body breathe. At this time, tune in to your own mind. Become aware of your thoughts. See if you can watch the thoughts in your mind as if you were watching a movie on a TV screen. If no thoughts appear to you, excellent. Simply watch and observe the darkness behind your eyes. But when thought reveals itself to you, Simply notice the thought and allow it to pass. Notice that thoughts cannot hurt you. They simply come and they simply go. Simply observe. Notice any thought that appears to you and notice the feeling that is attached. You can see and feel and observe when you're having a thought that is born from agitation, boredom, anger, excitement. Look now. You do not need to judge yourself or the thought or the feeling. Simply observe. Notice that thought is not who you are. Thoughts come and go, but you remain. Simply observe. Where do your thoughts come from? Can you find a door? Is there a place where you can witness thought emerging from inside of your own mind? Or do thoughts simply appear? Simply observe. Notice that substance that is aware of thought in you. Notice awareness itself now. Put your attention on the awareness that is aware of thought, that is aware of feeling, and that is aware of breath. And see that from the point of view of this awareness, all thought, all feeling, all breath happen in the same place. That place is called here, now. Simply observe. Say thank you to this awareness for always being aware. Because awareness is, awareness is always detached and can observe thought. Thought comes and goes, but awareness always remains. Awareness makes reality possible. Notice that this awareness is still aware, regardless of if there is thought present or not. Notice that this awareness has not left you for a moment, though all of your thoughts have come and gone. Abide in this awareness and see that no thought, not even the thoughts of great doubt, can last longer than awareness. See that no thought can stay forever, and therefore no thought can control you. Take one deep breath in and exhale. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Folks, the point of that exercise is to learn to tune in to where all of your thoughts, your feelings and emotions are showing up in yourself. Tune into that place where you can observe everything that is going on in your inner reality. Because once you understand that you are the immovable awareness, and that thoughts, emotions, feelings, they all appear in you, it becomes much easier to simply allow the thoughts, even the ones of doubt, to come without harm and go without harm. This is the first step. But if you take this one step powerfully enough, it includes all the other ones too. And so we conclude our evening together with one final message. I want you to have the clear understanding that if fear is our only enemy, then we bring heaven to earth when we transform our minds. I'm Dr. Shawn, and we were not sent to impress our people. We were sent to transform our people into a light for the world. For God's universe opens to all who believe in breakthrough.